Hello, Twitch and or YouTube enthusiasts of TypeScript. It's time to stream. Woo! Today I've got a fairly standard stream that's going to happen. I'm going to go through a bunch of pull requests and or issues on TypeScript-ESLint, just the standard maintenance. So first thing to do is tweet about it. First up, reviewing open pull requests. Yay! I love it when people send PRs. All right, I'm gonna go most recent first because some of the older ones intimidate me. And ugh. First up, switch to lightbulb emoji to denote rule suggestions. Interesting. This is from, ooh, let me actually keep Twitter on so I can add tweets. This is from, oh, Brian Mishkin. Have we met? Familiar name. Follow. Oh, also former Microsoftie. Funny. I will just link to their GitHub since they're protected on Twitter. First up, a nice docs PR from that switches or that standardizes, fixes our emoji usage to match ESLint for docs. That's what it does, right? Switch to lightbulb emoji. The lightbulb emoji is a convention for denoting rules with emojis used by the official ESLint website. The official ESLint website. Gotta get those emojis right. Bulb. All right. This is great. Everyone else apparently uses light bulbs. You know, I think I picked the hammer and wrench emoji for suggestible rules, and I agree with Beamish. It is too similar to the wrench. I made a mistake. I love it. Why is this failing, though? Is it not allowed? Do I have to approve this or something? Cleaning up. Ugh. GitHub Actions. You're still buggy. And cancel. And cancel. What is happening? All right. Just gonna rerun everything. YOLO. Okay, yeah. A light bulb. Light bulb. Interesting, the other one used hammer and wrench, not just hammer. Light bulb. Light bulb. Cool. All right. Switch to light bulb emoji. Notice how there are only a couple of files changed. This is because we auto-generate a whole bunch of stuff on TypeScript-ESLint.io. So if you go to our website and go to the rules, in fact, let me actually, before I forget, post these in the chat. Side note, if you're in the chat, you don't have to talk, that's fine. But please feel free to say anything, ask me anything appropriate to development or me. You want to talk about TypeScript or dev questions, you have any career things, feel free to speak up. All questions welcome. So yeah, we use fixable wrench, hammer and wrench for has suggestions in our nice little filter table. And that's generated by this rules table component. So I'm gonna switch over to my local repo. I still need to get things up on this new computer. GHPR checkout this. Wow, first time I'm running that command in this repo. Funny. All right, and I'm gonna look for rules table. That's what they had open. So the logic is if the rule docs recommended as strict, then its attribute for the first column is this lock, otherwise it's a recommended checkmark. Cool. The second column includes a hammer if it's fixable and a bulb if it has suggestions, and that is changed from hammer and wrench. This all looks pretty good. Similarly, we have labels changed. This all looks pretty reasonable. Rule attributes, I think that's used on the individual rule page. Let's suggestion fixture on our website. Then if we go to the preview site, which, fun fact, oh, it's still processing. I'll get it locally. We have, thanks to the power of modern front-end deploy setups, for each PR a Netlify preview. Netlify is great. And yep, let's look at these. They all look good. We got the bulb. Very nice. And we don't need to update unit tests because I guess nothing was testing that. Got a bunch of lint passes, unit tests, blah, blah, blah. All right. Cool. This looks great to me. Looks great to me. Thanks for the emoji fix. Big fan. Always appreciate both an emoji, improved usage of emojis, and standardizing on the eslint core. This is true. I really like this pull request. It really speaks to me. So I'll just let it auto merge once builds pass, assuming it passes unit tests. If it doesn't pass unit test, I'll have to take a look. Yay. Next up is allowMixins option for explicit function return type and ... Who posted this? And Carcella. They don't have a Twitter linked. Next, a feature from this person that to add to a couple of rules. All right, there we go. Boop. And in the Twitch chat. There you go. So let's look at this. Explicit function return type, add allowMixins. You're welcome, Benny Powers, for publishing this useful package. All right. Explicit function return type, which would exempt class mixin functions from the requirement for explicit return types. I don't personally use this rule in my repos, but it is useful at scale when you have lots of type checking. It can speed TypeScript up a little bit. I don't know that this is this a mixin? I guess so. That like this function takes in a superclass and returns a class that extends it. Kind of old. Like allow factories. Yeah, allow factories makes sense. This will make the option a little precise on mixins, but would support factory functions in general. I agree, like mixins is a specific instance of this general pattern of a function that takes in something and returns a class that extends it. All right. Providing an option to skip required explicit types for the TypeScript mixin pattern. The mixin definition was loosely interpreted as a function that returns a newly declared class. Make sure to allow both arrow and function definitions and only admitted functions that immediately define a class. Oh boy. This is rather specific. Oh, first time contributor, yay. All right. I suspect 7 files changed. This might be a chunk. So we'll see how this goes. Let's go back to VS Code to check out the pull request. And I'll just open these side by side. All right. So first up is the docs file for explicit function return types, allowMixins, blah, blah, blah. This I don't really want to look at. I kind of know what the thing does from the description. All right, explicit function return type. Excuse me. Yawning already. Not a good sign for me. All right. And allowMixins is a Boolean on this one. Is allowMixin function. What is this used for? Woo, excuse me, sorry. I tried to mute my mic, that came on very quickly. All right, this is used in an hour function and a function expression. So this is getting into the internals of a lint rule. And for those who haven't dug deep into lint rules before, I can tell you now that they're less intimidating than I thought they would be going in. I'm going to open a nice little site, ASD Explorer, to our TypeScript-ESLint. This lets you look at code along with the AST, or abstract syntax tree, that generates it. So you can see here that an AST is a representation of your source code. We have a function declaration, which is an object. Let me hide stuff we don't really care about. A function declaration has the property type, function declaration. It also has an ID, which is another what we would call node. Type identifier, name, make class. It's not a generator, not an expression, not async, but if we make it async, we can see that this async property becomes true. And we go down for the whole source file, down to the body of the function, the new class expression, and so on. So an ESLint rule typically has a bunch of key value pairs where the key is a query. For example, this query selects all arrow function expressions and function expressions. This is a declaration, interestingly, not an expression. An expression would be like const x equals arrow function. That's an arrow function expression. And then given that node, we have a bunch of logic that runs on it. So right here we see the new, if it is an allowMixin, we return from this logic and we don't complain about it at all. Interesting, this existing check function return type takes in a fourth parameter that's a callback that takes in location. Okay, wondering if it like calls it multiple times or whatever. Odd. All right. So is_allowMixin is used both on function declarations with a little simpler query, and on arrow function expressions and on function expressions. All right. So is_allowMixin always returns false if options.allowMixins. By the way, the code here is a little more verbose. I can't suggest on those other codes, but I just want to like knit. This can be returned combined with the earlier if statement for a little less code. Our rules can get kind of large, so it's nice to reduce. Is it allowed name or is allowMixin node? Boop. And similarly, yeah, I guess I won't nitpick here. You could like return options.allowMixins or does immediately return class expression. But what does this do? This is a shared function. It's in a util. It's imported. I'm just gonna yarn build. See why I'm getting little squigglies. Why is this complaining? Unsafe return of an any type value. That might be an ESLint complaint. I'm gonna restart ESLint server. All right, so check if a function is something like this. Should always have a body, really checking just in case. We don't do that here. Istanbul, ignore if. Istanbul is the engine that computes our code coverage. We don't require 100% unit test coverage. Sometimes there are cases where that's hard, but we do require not, I think, reducing or not significantly reducing coverage within a small threshold. So seeing something like this, we try not to do that. We try not to ignore areas from unit testing coverage. Unreachable code is generally a sign that or is often a sign that the type system isn't matching reality. And pressuring you to write code you don't need to, which is true. In this case, sounds like the body should exist. How about having the rule take in the body? An alternative, like what I would have suggested if we used more things, like if we body other stuff, like if we use more from it, I would suggest doing like something like function node with body extends, function node body. What's function node's body? Oh boy. What do their bodies look like? Block statement or expression. There we go. Wow. Where are we going here? Okay. This is complaining. Can only extend an object type or blah, blah, blah. So I have to use a type for this, I think. And I'm not even using this code. This is just an example, but what is this complaining about? There we go. It's just being slow. Yeesh. Whoops. So yeah, this is, I'm going to zoom out because I don't have enough space. This is generally what I would say to do. But in this specific instance, the body is only ever one of these things, it looks like. So that tag. Cool. See, I have a few new viewers. Hi everyone, welcome to my stream. I posted in the chat links to the, oh, I forgot this pull request. Oh, no, I didn't. We're good. Links to the pull requests and or issues I'm working on, along with a source graph toward the source intro to these AST things and ESLint rules I'm working with. Please feel free to ask any questions or bring up any topics you want. Development, TypeScript, JavaScript, web, other things, go ahead. Always happy to chat. All right, so does immediately return class expression. So we have a bunch of cases here. I don't know that I'm really motivated to look at all of these right now. I'll just kind of skim over this and then come back to it later. Let me just undo all my things. Really, these are just, I know what this function does in general. It checks whether a class immediately returns an expression. So, yeah. Later on, I can look at the test case. Ooh, not covered by tests. Naughty, naughty. Indeed, code cov is right. I actually haven't looked at that yet, so I'll come back to this if I see something that changes this. But by default, indeed, if code cov is saying something isn't covered by tests, we'll need to fix that up. Can you add coverage for, what is body.type here? For array patterns, cases where this would return false, such as, I'm just looking at body.type and I see it's, come on, either an array or an array pattern or an arrow function or assignment or await or insertion or, and so on. Any, such as an arrow function that returns an array literal. I saw this is a case not covered because by hovering over the type of body.type in the last if statement in whatever this function is, does immediately return ... Okay. Moving on, the tests. So these are tests that don't have an errors object property. There are no errors here, so these must be valid test cases, meaning with this file name and this whatever set of code block, and these options, allowMixins true, this should not give an ESLint complaint. And indeed, are the tests passing? It is horrifying to me that GitHub has not iterated on this UI significantly. Which test is failing? Heck if I know. Gotta scroll through 34 successful tests. Oh, it's just code cov patch. Okay. So yeah, the tests are indeed passing. We see all these nice little green checks. Who's in progress? Netlify, whatever. All right, so I'm gonna close AST Explorer for now. I like keeping my tabs small. So this is checking that this function, which just has the one return, another arrow function with return. All right, these all check various versions of function expressions and declarations. All right. These ones also check that specifically for mixins. All right, I'm seeing why CodeCov was complaining about the coverage, and also what was mentioned in the issue. That this is really specific to the case of like a function that does very little. For example, this last check I'm just reading here, check if a body is a block with a class definition, immediately fall. Woo! Excuse me. I forgot to even bother muting. My bad. Check if a body is a block with a class definition immediately followed by return if the body length is 2. So what happens if we put a console log? People are not going to like that because then this rule would still give a complaint. So I'd say it's a nice start, but need a little bit of iteration. So let's go back to this function. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, and I see this is also used in explicit-module-boundary-types. Okay. Looks like the tests for this test added in this PR are pretty limited. They just cover the cases of mixins that have 1 to 2 lines at most in the body. But users are definitely going to want to be able to do something like function, extend class. Let me just allow mixins. Let me copy from the tests just to make it relatable. Where's explicit function.test? There we go. All right, so here's the existing test. Hello world. As a general rule, it's pretty. By the way, did you know the term rule of thumb, which is what I almost said, has like a horrible origin? Oh wait, maybe it's not. Oh wait, it's a false origin? Huh. Someone told me that it's like the size of a thing you're allowed to beat your spouse with. It's like, wow, I'm gonna stop using that rule. But I actually have separately stopped using the phrase rule of thumb because it's one of those things that non-English speakers don't mix well with. Like, it does not translate at all. So it's a general rule. Rules need to be consistent in their logic and not consistent in their logic. They shouldn't start or stop failing on arbitrary changes. Many users would be irked, inconvenienced, confused by having seemingly not being allowed to add a no line before the return. I agree also with what was mentioned in the issue, in that that the rules should be made a bit more general. Maybe allow factories seems like a reasonable name, or maybe allow class factories. Also, is this a typed rule? I don't think it is. I'm also since this, yeah, I guess we don't need to use the type checker here. We could just say any function that definitely returns a class expression, but it's like just for classes. Okay. Looks like a great start. Requesting changes to increase test coverage and make this more forgiving as a rule. As a forgiving in what it considers a mixin / factory. Oh, let me be a little more helpful here. It's always good to be specific when you're suggesting something. Suggestion for the logic. We have a scope manager. I don't know if it's documented much. I don't know how. I don't personally know how to use the scope manager. I haven't actually used it before. So I'm gonna try to find a place where this is used in an existing rule to see how it works. Files to include star rule or rules/star.ts. Oh, it's already used in explicit-module-boundary-types. Oh, just for the type. How about naming convention? Pattern now. Who uses this thing? All right, let me look at definition type. What is definition type? Oh, context.getScope. What does this actually do? I don't actually know. Context.getScope. So it's scope dot reference type. Scope.set.get. What is scope.set? The map from variable names to variable objects. Scope.block. All right. Scope.function. Expression scope. Yeah, I don't know what this is, but I know that that's generally how we do look for contexts, or excuse me, look for flows, like where is a variable used, who uses a variable. Hello, thanks for chatting. First time chat and first of the day. Thank you, Voltarix. I'm not sure what you mean other than general positivity, so thank you. Likewise, I hope you enjoy this. Maybe use the scope. How are you doing today? Maybe use the scope manager. Search context.getScope in rules to. You might end up wanting to use the scope manager to determine all the return statements in a function. Suggestion for the logic: check all returns of a function, and consider it a class factory if they're all class expressions. Okay. Cool. A TS learner. Welcome to TypeScript. I have a book that helps with that. Out of curiosity, what sparked your interest in TypeScript? What's brought you to learning? And while the Twitch lag happens, I'm going to go to the next pull request. Next up, this is a week-old one that I had requested changes on. So, moving on. This is from a person from South Korea. Cool. I'll just copy this. From which, what does it do? Fixes no useless constructor. To handle decorated. Yeah, TypeScript can be a little bit of a wet to get into, But I'm glad you're having fun. I have a great time with this language. It's my favorite. It's a good time. To handle parameter decorators. Boop. All right, so bug, no useless constructor rule doesn't work properly with nest.jsdi. Fun fact, nest.js is not the same as next.js. Nest.js is a backend framework, and Next.js is a full stack / front-end framework for React. All right, so we have this no useless constructor, which, because here, linked to, we have a constructor that is used to handle parameters on decorators, and it doesn't do anything else. It just calls super. And this is valid code apparently for this Nest.js framework, which I personally don't use, but whatever. I'm gonna throw this into the TypeScript-ESLint playground after I remember to copy and paste the PR into the chat. So we don't care about any of these TypeScript situations. We just care. Ooh, sorry, hiccups. We don't care about any of the TypeScript type errors. We just care about the syntax and the whatever. What do you call it? The lint rule complaints. Wow, that was hard to say. So I enabled experimental decorators in compiler options, and in the eslint config, I'm gonna enable no useless constructor, the core rule. Oh, sorry, the TypeScript-ESLint rule. I'm gonna just delete all these imports, delete the stuff that doesn't matter. We don't care about the fact that this class extends anything. Extends other class. Actually, we don't even care that there's a super in there. We don't care about this other parameter. We just care. Oh, I should have kept the type on that. Repository. I'm just going to declare these. So if let me zoom in. If you ever have variables that you don't care about, just declare them as any. Declare const. And now this is any. Useless constructor. Aha! Useless constructor. Here we go. But this is not a useless constructor. Although, why? Oh, right, because it's injected and that's what you're supering with. Got it. This one, player const super class. So let's have it extend superclass and then also super with the repository. So anyway, this gets let's declare const country anyway. It's funny that something declared as any still can't be used as a type. So whatever, don't care about the type here. Empty object type. Is overriding types at natively TypeScript typed type? Oh God. Quick question: is overriding types at natively typed TypeScript library types if the type has not been extended for it? Are you asking if such a thing is possible? If so, yes, but it's a little tricky. What's a good library to extend types from? Let's say you have like import star as underscore from Lodash. I'm just going to use them as an example. It is possible. All right, so the native TypeScript playground, typescript-org/play, lets you import from random libraries and it'll import the types there. So I'm just going to take a random type, empty object of, ooh boy, they've got some fancy things here. It is possible. Huh. Sorry, I'm just looking for a relatively simple type to extend and not like have a huge issue with. There was a good Stack Overflow question. Was it this one? No. Was it this one? No. You know what? It is popular. Let me file an issue for this, actually. I have been sneakily adding articles, or rather issues for articles, to the Learning TypeScript site on things that I'm going to eventually post. So this one asked on my stream, or a question brought up on my Twitch stream today, overriding types of third-party libraries if the types aren't made to be extended. Like, if we, let me know if this is a misinterpretation, but if some library exports an Apple or interface, whatever, my data, and in your code you need to have, oh yeah, a link would be great, yes please, an extra property, my property added to all instances of my data. Oh boy. Media soup. Worker settings. So yeah, this is a good example. Like, I'm guessing you want something more specific for app data than record string unknown, saying an object that has literally anything in it. Other example. More specific example. Thanks, Voltarix on Twitch for bringing up. And I mean that, by the way. Thank you for bringing this up. This is a great question. I don't remember how to do this off the top of my head. So I'm going to want to, like, where's my emoji? I'm going to want to research this and come up with a few options. I know I've seen this asked on the TypeScript Discord before. Yeah, like you could, hey Alex, you could make your own type, like my worker settings, but then yeah, anyone who imports worker settings, that's annoying. So yeah, definitely, this is a good question and I will look into it. How to override third-party types. Article. Cool. So subscribe to that issue if you want to be notified when I start working on it, which should be soon. Any other questions, by the way, feel free to ask. This was a good one. Whew. But cool, I do want to get back to this thing because I'm excited about this. Decorators will eventually become a major thing in JavaScript that is supported by, oh, I don't know, the language itself. For now, they're still under discussion in the language committees. But yeah, so we should allow this constructor because it's not useless. It injects. So that's the backing bug. And then 5450, the pull request, is fixing it to handle parameter decorator. So what did I say last time? Oh yeah, existing typo. They resolved that. No useless constructor TS. What did I say here? It might be the case that param.decorators would make sense as a check. Oh, wait, I enabled auto-merge squash. So I don't even need to review this. This just needs to be updated. Okay. Oh, bang. So wait, I enabled auto-merge squash on a PR previously. Did that get merged? Who am I and what am I doing? Where was, didn't we just look at something? Go up in the Twitch chat. Oh, okay. allowMixins, nope, earlier one. Oh yeah, this merged. Awesome. Yay. So, okay. This one should just be merged. Oh yeah, no, TypeScript type system shenanigans are not super well documented on the internet because relatively fewer people use them. And it's kind of, I don't know. the error messages aren't great for them. And like random edge cases can be hard to find docs or Stack Overflow equivalents on. So yeah, no, I feel you. I too have felt adjectives like unsuccessful and far worse for a day or more trying to fix random stuff in the type system. So I feel you. Moving on. This should be approved. This will pass eventually. Bump DocuSource to 2.0 and Prettier to 2.7. Now that is a thing. DocuSource is what powers our website, TypeScript-ESLint.io. It's awesome. Like a lot of this stuff gets auto-generated for us. The sidebar search integration with Algolia is fantastic. I had commented. There was a discussion. All right, so there's a Babel alignment issue. That's fascinating. All right, let me tweet about the thing. All right. Got a bigger PR here, and I am a little scared. Bumping DocuSource to 2.0 and Prettier to 2.7 by Zida Chen. Boop. All right. I've just memorized Josh Cena, because they are one of our favorite community members, if not our favorite. So the problem is, I remember looking at this before. Prettier got bumped in this PR for DocuSource thing to 2.7, and then that like changed the AST a little bit. So in addition to breaking changes in DocuSource we were on the 2.0 betas. Now we are dealing with multiple breaking changes. Oh yeah, 100 generics. That is like what generics are often for, being able to override fields, but sometimes you just gotta, and sometimes they don't, the creators of those fields. So this got to merge conflict with yarn lock. That's fine. I'm gonna hit checkout main. Fun fact: I do my work on a fork because I like to simulate being a regular contributor. So let me just fix my git config to is it global that I have to do? Reconfig. There we go. EQRSTU. Make that body alphabetical. There we go. Git at joshuakgoldberg.com. Alright, so GHPR checkout 5377. Merge main. One of the nice features of Yarn that they added, I think, relatively a long time ago, that other package managers ended up copying. Copying is too harsh of a word. Also having is they will merge conflict, resolve in your yarn.lock for you, which is honestly, I would say it's a bug if your package thingy doesn't do that. Sorry, I've got too many chats on my phone that I have to mute. All right, so DocuSource 2.0, Prettier 2.7. It's only 11 files actually. What were we talking about previously? The errors are because Babel now treats named exports with type JSON as early syntax error. I don't know how we should fix this. Ideally target our own parser, but that should be in a separate PR before this gets merged. Okay. We had previously tried to upgrade Babel to the newest version, Chore from Dependabot, and that didn't happen. Brad closed it 3 weeks ago. I don't know why. Okay. Oh yeah, let me post the link in the chat. As always, since I see a few people have trickled in or out, feel free to chat about anything you want within reason. Tech, life, happiness, TypeScript, JavaScript, web, all those things. Let me know if you have any questions. All right. DocuSource depends on the newest version of Babel and it gets deduped. Babel alignment is a whole shenanigan. All right. Oh yeah, I'd ask a question. So our node module importing setup, like a lot of people's, is kind of halfway between CommaJS and ESM, the new versions. So you can read the thread in the PR, not the issue, if you want to know about type module, why that's a TS expect error now. But I'm just going to go ahead and resolve. All right. So otherwise, these changes look pretty reasonable. Just imports from docusource that are changed. But is my yarn done yet? I'm going to yarn build locally. Whoa, why do I have so many? What? Oh. I started the merge and didn't finish it. Merge, branch, main, push. So yeah, look at that. Yarn build took a second, less than a second. Love NX caching. It's like turbo repo in NX. Yay. All right. What are the actual failures? Let me look at the most recent built commit. One of the AST spec tests. All right. Well, guess I have to wait locally, but I'll just run yarn test locally and see what happens. By the way, I'm getting a little bit of combo on Twitter. Sorry to interrupt. I just want to jump in the question about overriding third-party lib types. If I'm understanding the question correctly, then the library interface can be overridden by creating the same interface name for lib types, for library types, mostly our interfaces. Ooh. That does sound right. Any chance you could copy a link to a playground with it? TypeScript-ESLint.org/play. Cool. Thank you, Yasser, for chatting with us. Yay. I followed. Cool. All right, moving on. Maybe the test has started. There we go. All right. So we have some parser tests, most of which still pass, but then we have a few tests that had let's see, had a failure where we did not expect an error, but did actually get an error. All right. So export names declaration, I think that's the name. Assertion / Babel AST. So, all right. What is happening here? Is there all right, so this, I guess, is a thing you can do in TypeScript and JavaScript now. I'm gonna go onto the playground. All right. Export. I will switch this to Lodash. Export is arguments from Lodash. So yeah, you can do that, I guess. I didn't know you could add these import assertions on your exports too. I just knew that you could, if you really wanted to, you could do like import star as, or you could like import stuff from my JSON assert. And you could say like assert that the type is JSON, which specifies that then, can you declare module? I guess, whatever. I don't know the syntax for this in the playground. But yeah, that's like an allowed thing. Didn't know you could do it on exports too. So that's cool. All right, so the problem here is that our tests, which are set up to like automatically create themselves based off the file system, they expected there on line 89 to be no error, but in fact there was an error. All right, which is on line 175. So we expect that Babel, what is this? we expect that Babel should have passed here, even though it didn't, pardon me. Similarly, on line 181, the next one, we expect that our tokens based off the Babel AST match. Wait, these both assert Babel parsed as a success. Why do both of them do that? Anyway, the way it works is we compile our code and we also compile Babel. So we have Babel parsed and then also snapshot files, success. Okay, so we have TSCS tree and Babel. So yeah, I think this PR, I think we're going to need to update Prettier to 2.7 in a separate PR. And I can do that. I don't see any other PR linked to this one, so I can just try to send that myself now. This is more complex than I'm used to. I haven't dug too far deep into these things yet, but I have been meaning to get deep into the AST stuff. So this is good. So git push, because I'm behind my forked branch. Git push, or excuse me, check out the Prettier 2.7. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to say Prettier is now going to be, what's it going to be? 2.7.1. And yep, everyone else is an asterisk, or to match the root, although I see the root previously didn't use an upper caret thing. So let's go with that. Yarn build, yarn test. You can't see me typing those commands, but I am. Alrighty. So, looking back on this PR, I'm going to have to mark this as co-authored by our favorite other Josh. I'm my personal favorite Josh, but that's just me. All right. So I'm going to use the fancy GitHub feature viewed. I viewed Prettier, I viewed the package. Guess this is line 115. Oh, you know what? I also need to Babel/core. Who is Babel/core? Who updated that? I'm actually interested. Maybe Prettier 2.7 on its own won't cause any build failures, but it's the linked. Where was that thread? The PR. There we go. This one. Babel core from 7.18.5 to 7.18.9. So if this PR works on its own, I'll just send it on its own. In fact, do we already have a Prettier dependent bot? I know we have a lot of dependent bot PRs. I've been wanting to set tooling up to merge these automatically. I see we actually been pretty good recently. We don't have too many open ones. Oh, we don't have any open ones. Great. All right, Cypress failed. That I am not worried about at all. Oh, wow. So Prettier on its own is okay. So Shore depths, bump Prettier to 2.7. Actually, wait. I'm going to cancel that. Yarn format. Let me just run that. So this command yarn format is going to write the format. Aha! We do have a few changes. And okay, Prettier now is adding semicolons in this case. Okay, that's fine. So just a standalone. Boop, boop, boop. This actually doesn't address an existing issue, so getting that out of there. I did follow the steps in contributing. I'm not going to tell you what those are now out of laziness, but I did follow them. All right, so splitting changes out of, co-authored by Josh Cena. Cool. I'm going to make that a draft in case builds fail. And I'm going to tweet it. Splitting this out standalone. Boop. All right. Oh, main is updated. What happened on, oh. I forgot to add in, what did I forget? Huh, I forgot to add in these things. Okay. Git commit amend no edit, git push force. So this is why we draft PR. All right, so git checkout main, git pull upstream main. What updated? Not possible to fast. Head. Oops. I'm resetting my head to very old one so I can pull. And what got merged recently? No useless constructor? Nice. There it is. Very good. That got merged. All right. So now that we're done with Prettier 2.7, let's look at Babel Core. I don't know why Brad closed it, but I'm interested. So can I just check out this branch? Nope. I'm sure that after I send the PR, of course, someone, likely Brad, will explain to me exactly why this got closed. Git pull upstream, git fetch upstream, and now I should be able to check out the branch. There we go. Git pull yarn build. Alrighty. One more question is coming. Love it. Why does ESLint warn as object possibly undefined, const foo equals new map string, whatever, foo to get? Aha! This is not an ESLint thing. This is a TypeScript thing. Great question. Whoops, I copied the wrong thing. This is because that's how it works, unfortunately, in the type system. There's no type system way to express, I think even foo.get. There's no type system way to express that if foo.has bar returns true, then foo.get bar must return the thing. And that's because I'm just going to go to somewhere in our code base that uses .get in a TS file to go to the types. Oh yeah, you did say it's foo.get, yeah. When you go to definition on .get, or the interface map, we see this. Maps get returns v or undefined. There's nothing in the type system that says, oh, but if has returns true, then get must have. There's no way to represent that. In theory, TypeScript could add such a way, but it'd be real complicated. Like what if we do get my key? Class get my key equals something like that. Or just generally, like, how would then the type system know that foo.delete foo? Like, I'm just going to call all these keys my key. Like, there's no way for it to know. So oftentimes what I will do in code is some pattern like const existing value equals, and I'm going to call this my map. My map.get my key, then if existing value. So oh yeah, and this instead of my map.has. So that's what I do. It's not great, not ideal, but such is how we do TypeScript. And let me know if that does or doesn't answer your question. Thank you for asking. Appreciate it. And I'm going to post in the chat. Oh, no, I can't post the link because... Is there a... I swear there was like a tsplay.dev shortcut or something. Oh, that button doesn't work. Never mind. All right. So, hi, built. Yarn test. Back to the depend-upon situation. Stay hydrated, folks. We are updating Babel core from 7.18.5 to 7.18.9, which apparently just involves some yarn lock shenanigans. It's a transitive dependency. Oh boy, they have a lot of good notes. Look at this. They have it like auto-formatted with emojis and categorized. Very nice. Yeah, I very rarely use maps with .has. I use maps a lot, and I almost always use .get with them, just by convenience. Truncated. Okay. So, ooh, there we go. Here's a failure. I don't know that generics would have solved that, unfortunately. Oh, wait, yeah. Like a third generic for like what exists in the map already. Yeah, but maps are so mutable over time that it would be hard to represent that. But yeah, you could probably get something together. All right, so fixtures TS, fixtures test TS, line 175 in expect success response. So what is this? Expect error response. Oh, I guess that exists. Babel parse. Oh, these are type narrowing. So let me look elsewhere in this code. What else do we do with expect error response? Is that it? We just log it? What does this look like? Thing parser response. A search thing is parser response error, meaning this function returns a Boolean that is a special Boolean. It means if it returns true, the thing is that. And that it must have an error. All right. Is there anywhere else where we do like .error to match specific snapshot? We do. All right, nice. So what I'm gonna do is cd to the packages ast spec package folder and yarn just this thing -- watch to run it testing in test mode. Ooh, and I wanna press U to update failing snapshots. Not a lot of people use the interactive jest CLI, but I do when I remember to, and it's awesome. Look at that, one snapshot updated. 102 tests fail. What? How are 102 tests failing? That's bizarre. Oh man. Surely not all the Babel things are failing. All the things that are failing are Babel. My God, look at this. Okay, but I'm going to do a search for checkmark space to see if there's any Babel thing that failed. All right, so one Babel AST still worked. What is it complaining about? And what does this snapshot say? The error is a JSON module can only be imported with default. That's true. All right, so what did I actually update here? 3-babel-ast under export name declaration, which is this. All right, so we have a whole bunch of failures here. Let's see. All these assert type JSONs in our fixture TS files. Let's look at just fixture TS. All of them are on imports and exports, all three. We have an export all declaration, export names declaration, and an import declaration. So Babel is correctly saying, or wait, Babel makes this an error now. So that's not allowed in Babel? I think they mentioned that. Where was it? Should name JSON module import be a parsing stage error? Currently Babel parser throws syntax. This is interesting. All right, so Babel says this code is an error, but the spec only states that JSON module should provide only a single default export. So a syntax error should be thrown no later than the module resolution stage. So should a JavaScript parser throw these errors, even though a parser can recognize JSON module imports thanks to the import insertion syntax? So the question is, right now this is a parsing error. The code fails to parse. But in theory, this should really be a syntax error, so like more of a runtime-like error, because this code is valid to be parsed, it's just wrong. So this actually is a bug question for Babel, which also has it brought up by our favorite Josh. Yep, I'm gonna upvote. We should is it possible that we defer the error to the generator and only emit the error when down leveling? You know what? I forgot to check my audio levels today. It's fine. Only emit the error when down leveling ES modules to CJS, otherwise leaving the error to the runtime. The error is recoverable. So there's discussion. The tests don't verify that it's a parse error, just that it's an error before evaluating. Oh, wow. Future proposals, for example, module blocks. I did not know that this was a thing that was coming up, module blocks. Oh boy. So are we just not compatible, TypeScript-ESLint? I don't know. I guess I'll just keep going. So we should Babel error on this, I guess. But I feel like we also should have, is there an export default declaration? Can you do, what is it? Export, wait. Export default from, no. But you can do export default named, right? Yeah. So fun fact, the default export and import is just an export named default. Like you could do like const default equals 3. Now, if you were allowed to name a variable that, you can do like export const default equals 3. But you're not allowed to name them. Like back in the day, people did wacky things. Anyway, so should Babel allow this? Is there like a Babel online playground? REPL? Nice, there we go. Awesome. So that's allowed. But, oh, this is also, what? What Babel version is this? 7.18. What was I changing in the yarn lock? 7.18.9, 7.18.12. Oh boy. Oops. 7.18.12. You know what? I'm stuck here and I don't know what to do. All right, so I'm just getting a little stuck on the Babel parsing issue. It looks like things are still in progress. Let me add this. Where is that issue? Boop, 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 boop. From this one to this one. So I'm going to hold off on doing more for now. Yeah, I'm still relatively new to a lot of these things, so probably not well equipped to handle this. So moving on to my PR review queue bookmark. All right. You know what? The rest of these, I'm just going to skip. This one relies on some info changes that we haven't had time for, and the other two are breaking changes that are old. So I have gotten through my queue. Yay! So let's go to the issue review queue. Woohoo! So instead of reviewing code, I'm now reviewing issues. What a good time. I'll try to get through a few of these before I have to leave, which is in 20 minutes. So folks in the chat, now is your time. Ask any other questions you want or bring up any other topics. Would love to hear your hot takes on TypeScript. And after this, in maybe 10-15 minutes, I'll ask for who we should raid. So let me know if you have any channels happening that I should punt everyone out towards. All right. Oh boy. I'll just do recent first. Normally I do older first. I'm feeling spritzy today. Whatever. All right. Ban in operator for arrays. So for a second, I just had a brain fart. Like, don't we do this already? Checking for array membership using in is a common new JS developer mistake. It looks like it should work, but it does not, since in checks for properties and array values are not properties. What happens if you do this code, actually? Let me pop open a console. Boop, boop. Shut up, DevTools. In array is false, but 0 in array is true, which is confusing and no one should ever do that kind of check. Fun fact, let's say we have like a sparse equals a few z. Yeah, so sparse is a valid array, but it has empty slots. A feature of JavaScript arrays that has confused and horrified people since its inception. So if you do like 3 in sparse, it returns false. No one should be writing sparse arrays unless it's some sort of weird high performance quirk thing, in which case our rules should be removed because best practices say to stop doing that thing. So yeah, we do have a no for in array. And I agree. I think it would make sense to do a no in array. For in array just looks at for loops. Instead of for const x in, you do const x. What? That's not, I would have thought it would be const x of, but whatever, fine, yeah. So I agree. Dropping my mouse wrist rest. Post this in the chat. Oh no, I forgot to tweet this too. I unfortunately will have to blaze through these other things I see folks are talking, and I just want to get through to the end. Reviewing from, who are you, friendly person? Are you on Twitter? Yes. Well, at least yes to the proposal. So yeah, I say let's do this. This seems like a good idea. Triage accepting PRs. Sound good to me. As stated, and with no for in array, this will have to be a type rule to know whether a value is an array. Yeah, the in operator looks for keys, and a sparse array is just missing the keys for empty slots. Cool, moving on. Bug consistent type imports using with isolated modules and omit decorator metadata. Oh boy. Playground link. All right. So we expect no errors, but we actually do get errors here. Import type key from React. All right. Well, our playground doesn't have automatic types acquisition, ATA. So moving on, if you use import type, you get type import key is used by decorator metadata. But if you use just regular import, you get a type reference and a decorator syntax signature must be imported with import type. All right, doesn't repro in the playground, and we can't screw around with the TypeScript playground with our rules. So let's look at the repro repo. Love it. So closing all these files in TypeScript-ESLint for now. Switching over to my terminal. Git clone consistent type imports error. Just look at the package. Seems like a fairly standard consistent type. My door just opened because a cat named Tiny just walked in. Tiny says hi. He is very loving, but also a buffoon. Meow, Tiny. Nope. Goodbye, Tiny. All right, yarn. Index. Here we go. All right, so this the type import A is used by decorator metadata. Yep, so we want to make it a non. Oh God. So TypeScript has this old decorator support thing that uses types to inform emit, which is like a really bad practice that they no longer allow anything to do, any new things. So when you upgrade TypeScript to 4.7.4, interesting. So if we do, well, let's look at the package. TypeScript is 4.7.4. If we do, let's say 4.6 and yarn, and then do we have lint as a thing? All right, we do have an ESLint. What is this? What the heck is this formatting? Oh my God, look at that. What? What formatter does this? Fascinating. It's almost like Go format. Okay. Yarn is installing from not cache. Okay. Oh, I almost forgot to tweet. Digging into from, who are you, friend? From GitHub person who's not on Twitter. Oops. All right. So if I do yarn eslint dot, I should get, well, are we getting multiple versions of TypeScript? 4.6.4. Yep, it looks like TypeScript is 4.6.4. Let me just see what, if anything else specifies a new TypeScript version. I'm not seeing anything in here. All right, the workspace is, all right, cool. So TypeScript 4.6.4, I don't know what they're talking about with the upgrade. It's, wonder if they had like a really old version, like 4.1. Wonder if that's gonna be a thing. Thank you. My cat is cool. We have 3 cats. We had one, and then we had a backyard that had a bunch of them that we started feeding, mostly Mariah, my wife. So now we have 3. We had 5, which is too many cats. Definitely too many cats. We gave them away, 2 of them to friends. I miss them. But 5 cats is too many cats. All right, so this is happening across TypeScript versions. I don't know. All right, so type import A is used by decorator metadata. But if you change it to a regular type, param A type referenced in a decorated signature must be, oh wait, am I using a different TypeScript version? TypeScript 4.7. All right, so in TypeScript 4.7, a type reference in decorated signature must be imported with import type or namespace import when, oh my God, isolated modules and emit decorator metadata are enabled. dear heavens. So you have to either import type or use a namespace import, like import star as, if you have both isolated modules and omit decorated metadata. Oh my god. All right. So that's what the issue says. And if we change our TypeScript version to 4.1, like I don't know why I'm doing the thing at the command line. All right, so this started being an issue with TypeScript 4 point something. Select version 4.16. So if I go to yarn, a new version of TypeScript, let's say it's TypeScript 4.6 again. Okay, so this should be faster because yarn should have cached it. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Wait, can't be found in the cache and will be fetched? Whatever. Let's set the TypeScript version to 4.6. All right, so yeah, it starts happening at 4.7. All right, so how do we fix this? So this is a bug. Not sure what to do here. So I guess, can we check in consistent type imports? Oh, let me undo all my changes, get add all, get reset hard head, get checkout main, get pull ups. Who is modifying my head? Get reset hard head 3, get pull upstream main, get push. All right, so in consistent type imports TS, can we get the compiler options? So like looking in all rules/star.ts files, compiler options. Okay, so you can. I'm gonna ignore the comment that says dirty hack. Yeah, so you can get parser services .program.kit compiler options. So this is a bug. This is a bug starting with TypeScript 4.7, but I'm not sure the best way. Let's think. So in theory, the rule could ask for compiler options and check them. But sometimes, I suppose the rule could ask for compiler options and check them, but then users might be confused if they're running ESLint with different compiler options than their editor. I think that is probably fine, since that case is bad anyway. Shrug. Okay, yeah, I think this is just a bug fix. Accepting PRs, bug, not a good first issue. Anything that's nuanced, I would not refer to as such. All right. Did I remember to tweet this? No, I didn't. Well, that tweet came out terrible. Thanks, Twitter. But okay. So it's 3:56 my time. I've been here about an hour and a half. I'm tired. My back is starting to hurt. So I think it's time to finish. But thank you all, especially you, Valturix. Let me know if that's how you prefer to pronounce your Twitter name. I appreciate the chat. I appreciate everyone being here. Since no one has mentioned a raid channel, I'll just name it at the end. But I will end with a, oh, you too, Yado, thank you. I'll end with a plug for myself. GitHub.com/Joshua K. Goldberg. Find me there or on Twitter. I'm a full-time open source developer. I don't have a paycheck. I instead get money through sponsorships and a little bit of consulting, because sponsorship money is not very much. So if you want to support me in the work I'm doing on these shared libraries that quite a few developers use, then you can always sponsor me on GitHub Sponsors. You can also sponsor TypeScript-ESLint, which is a very important project, if you ask me, on Open Collective, the link for which is on TypeScript-ESLint.io. If you sponsor enough, you might even get your name and or logo on this list. Already followed on Twitter. Heck yes. Bonus points for you. Thank you. Lastly, you can buy my book, learningtypescript.com. I wrote a book. It's good. It's very good. I think it is an excellent book, learningtypescript.com. So if you do buy it, please rate it 5 stars on Amazon. Other books have like bots doing that, I am told, but I don't. But it really helps me out, the sponsorships and the buying and the rating. So thank you. Rating. Semantics, one of my favorites. Red eating in 10 seconds.